Hello, this is Sara with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video is our 9th 6-inch square of our year-long crochet along. And if you haven't been keeping up, each month I've designed a 6-inch square with the month's birthstone as my inspiration. This month is September Sapphire, and this is our square. I used 3 colors, a dark, a light, and a very light, or a dark, a medium, and a light for our square. Now, as always, you don't have to make the square in these colors. I just use it as my inspiration, and I try to keep all of the squares easy. And then at the end of the year, we're going to have 12 because there's 12 months. We're going to make a really fun project. And just a hint, it's not a blanket. All right. Well, this is a free pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link right down there in the notes underneath the video. What you're going to need to make this month's square are 3 different shades of blue in worsted weight number 4. Now I've got this blue, and I've got this one that's very light, and I'm going to be using this for my medium. These are Red Heart with Love worsted weight number 4 yarns. You can use any worsted weight number 4 yarns that you want to. You can use regular Red Heart Super Saver. You can use I Love This Yarn from Hobby Lobby, or any of the other worsted weight yarns that you want to use. Now, you don't have to use blue. You can use other colors if you like. You can even add some variegated in there. It is, again, totally up to you how you want to do your square. But for this month, because it is Sapphire, for September, we're using the 3 shades of blue. This is a really easy one this month because there's only 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, all done in double crochets and chains. So you're going to really like this one. We're going to be stitching today with our 5mm H hook. You'll also need a needle for weaving in ends, and of course, a pair of scissors. Now, I always tell you it's a good idea to practice, and I really think that it is. So if you wanted to just get some of your leftover yarns and practice, that would be great. Or you can just dive right into it, because you'll see it is an easy 6-inch square. We're going to begin with our dark blue color. You can use another shade if you want to. We'll make our slip knot, and we'll chain 5. There's our chain 5. We're going to take our tail and bring that through that loop that's on our hook and snug that down. Always give it another little knot. There we go. Now we'll turn it over so when we stitch, we'll be stitching over that extra little tail. Alright, so we're going to put our hook through the loop that we just made with our chain 5, and we're going to chain 3. Now, this beginning chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Now we're going to make 2 more double crochets. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. So our chain 3 counted as 1 double crochet, and then we stitched another, and so we're going to stitch 1 more. And then we'll chain 2. Alright, so that counts as a 3 double crochet and chain 2. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 more times, so that we'll have 4 sets of 3 double crochet, chain 2. And this is a typical way of starting just about any classic granny square. And I located my yarn bowl so my yarn balls won't be rolling off my table. All right, so there's one chain 2, one second set of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and a third set of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and I need to do one more. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then I'm going to join to the top of this chain 3. So there's our center with our 4 sets of 3 double crochet, chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch in those next 2 double crochets. Just pull a loop up and pull that loop through the loop that's on your hook. There's that one. Then we're going to slip stitch in the chain 2 space and chain 3. And this is how your first row should look. Now we stitched over that tail, and all you have to do to close that hole is just give it a gentle pull and that hole will close. And we'll weave this in later, so don't worry if it opens up on you just a little bit. So this is how our first row should look. For our second row, we're going to make a corner first. Our chain 3 that we just made counts as our first double crochet. So then we're going to make 2 more double crochets in this corner. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to make 3 more double crochets in this same chain 2 space, and that makes our first corner of this row, that is. All right, so now we're going to chain 1, and then you'll see those 3 double crochets from the previous row. We're going to make 1 double crochet in the top of that center double crochet. And then chain 1. And then we'll repeat the corner. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So here's our first corner. Chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. Then we chained 1. We made 1 double crochet in that center double crochet from the previous row, chain 1, and then we made our next corner. And we're going to repeat this. Chain 1, 1 double crochet in that center double crochet, chain 1, and then we make our corner. Three double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. Now we're going to repeat this. We chained 1, 1 double crochet in the top of that center double crochet from the previous row, chain 1, and then we'll do a corner. Here's our 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets. And then we'll chain 1 double crochet in the center, chain 1, and join. I finished that last corner, chain 1, double crochet, and then chain 1, and now I'm going to join to the top of my chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the next 2 double crochets, and again this is to get us back over to our corner, and then I'm going to slip stitch in that first corner. And I've already cut my yarn because we're going to be changing colors, so go ahead and cut your yarn. Leave yourself enough to weave in when we're done. Now we're going to join in our new color. Hold those strings down. We're going to go right in that first chain 2 space of this first corner and chain 3. And this counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to do our corner the same we've done before. We're going to stitch 2 more double crochets because the chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2. Then we're going to place 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space because it's a corner. So there's our corner. Chain 3, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets. Alright, now to do the side, we're going to be stitching in those 2 chain 1 spaces that has the double crochet in between. So we're going to chain 1, we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the first chain 1 space. Then we're going to chain 1 and stitch a double crochet in that next chain 1 space, and then chain 1 again. And this is the way each side will go. We'll do a corner of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, so there's the second corner. Chain 1, we'll place a double crochet in that first chain 1 space, then we'll chain 1, place a double crochet in that next chain 1 space, and then chain 1. So there's our first repeat. Corner, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. And we'll repeat this in the next 2 sides, and then we'll join to the top of that chain 3. I finished the other 2 sides making my corners and my chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 on the last 2 sides. So now we're going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch, and again we're going to slip stitch in the top of those 2 double crochets. Then we'll slip stitch in that chain 2 space and chain 3. Now we're not changing colors on this row. We're staying with the medium blue. And so our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to make the corner the same. 2 more double crochets. Chain 2. And 2 more double crochets. Chain 2. And then 3 more double crochets for our corner. And this time we're going to chain 2. We chained 1 on the previous row, but on this row we're going to chain 2 here. And we're again going to be working in these chain 1 spaces. So we're going to place 1 double crochet in the first chain 1 space, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 1 double crochet in the next chain 1 space, and then we'll chain 2. Okay, so we made our corner, we chained 2, we did double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Then we chain 2, and this is how this row will work. Alright, so we're going to place 3 double crochets in the next corner. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets in this same corner or chain 2 space, because we're stitching our corner in a chain 2 space. Alright, so there's our next corner. And now we're going to chain 2, working in these chain 1 spaces. We're going to place a double crochet in the first chain 1 space, chain 1, place a double crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, place a double crochet in the next chain 1 space, and chain 2. So there's our next corner and next side, and we'll repeat this on these last 2 sides, and then we'll join to the top of our chain 3. Again, we'll slip stitch to the corner, but we're not going to chain 3 because our last row is an even lighter blue. You can see that I finished my last 2 rows, made my corner, chain 2, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, and then chain 2. And now I need to join that to the top of that chain 3 like we have been doing with a slip stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in the next 2 double crochets and then slip stitch in the corner. Now I'm going to cut off my yarn because next we're going to be changing colors. But this is how your first 4 rows of your square should look. So now we're ready to add in our last color. And this row is going to be really easy. It's done exactly like the previous row, only we're going to have 4 double crochets because we have 4 spaces. Alright, so we're going to take our yarn again, join it in on that loop. Make sure everything's snug down. And then we're going to go in that chain 2 space and chain 3. And again, that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. Alright, so let's make 2 more double crochets, because again the chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, chain 2, and then we're going to place 3 double crochets to finish off our corner. So there's our first corner in our lighter color. We're going to chain 2, and then in each of these spaces, the first and last will be chain 2 spaces, and the middle ones will be chain 1. We're going to place a double crochet in that first space. We're going to chain 1, place a double crochet in the next space, chain 1, place a double crochet in the next space, chain 1, and then double crochet in that last space. And then we're going to chain 2. And that's the way that it will look. We'll have our corner, chain 2, and then double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, chain 2. And then we'll repeat that. Let's do our next corner. We need 3 double crochets, chain 2, some more yarn over here, and 3 double crochets, and chain 2. And then we'll repeat what we did over here. Double crochet in that first space, which is a chain 2. Then we'll chain 1, and then we'll double crochet in the next space. Chain 1, double crochet in that next space. Chain 1, and double crochet in that last space, and chain 2. And that's how this very last row will work. We'll make our corner of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, and then we'll chain 2, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and then our last one will be a double crochet, chain 2. So we'll have 4 individual double crochets on the side. And then we'll repeat. We'll do the corner and the side 2 more times. We'll join to the top of our chain 3, and then we'll tie off. I told you this was going to be an easy one. I repeated what we did with the 4 double crochets with the chain 1s and the chain 2s. I did another corner and then repeat all the way around. And now I'm ready to join to the top of my chain 3 and tie off. And I'm going to take my hook into that next double crochet, put the loop on there and pull it to the back, and then tie off. And I think it just gives it a little bit better appearance on the front to tie off that way. Alright, so there's our square, and I've already weaved in my other ends, but we need to take a minute and weave in these ends with our needle. So just thread the yarn onto your needle. And just go in some stitches, moving one way and then back the other. And I usually do it 2 or 3 times. Make sure when you're weaving in your ends with something where you're changing colors that you stay within the color, because you know, if at all possible, sometimes you can't, but if at all possible, you want to try to do that, because if I were to take this medium one and stitch it through the light, it might show through on the back side of my square. So yeah, just try to, when you're weaving in, stay within the color that you're working on. And I know there's times you won't be able to, but it's a good idea to try to do that, you know, because you wouldn't want a little blue stitch showing through if you can help it. All right, so I'm going to finish tidying up my square and getting it all nice and pretty. I weaved in my ends and I got my square all nice and tidied up. And now I'm ready to put it on my blocker board. Now remember, with worsted weight yarns, you do not have to block them. And I do have a video about how to block them if you want to. You do not have to. And probably for the project that we're going to do at the end, it's probably not needed. But some people really like to block them. So if you want to, it's totally fine. It won't hurt a thing. And it might even make it look like a much better shaped square. Again, that's a preference. So this is our September Sapphire 6-inch square.